Welcome back to 32 Teams in 32 Days. I'm Ben Jackson, and today we're diving into the Jacksonville Jaguars, a team that's caught a lot of heat lately, mostly aimed at Trevor Lawrence. But let's be real, the bigger problem isn't him, it's the defense. While everyone debates whether Trevor is a franchise quarterback, Jacksonville has bigger priorities if they actually want to compete in 2025. With major holes on the defensive line, at quarterback, and safety, plus some key free agent decisions, this offseason is crucial for the Jaguars. Can they fix the defense, reload the roster, and make a real playoff push? Let's break it all down. The cap situation, biggest needs, and how they should attack the draft. Let's get into it. All right, let's look back at 2024, see what happened and how we got here. So we went into the season with Doug Peterson as a head coach and Trent Baalke as the general manager. Trevor Lawrence was the quarterback going into year 4 of his career. He has already been extended. He's playing on an extension now. These were the narratives going into the season per BetMGM. So the Jaguars' 2024 preseason win total was 8.5 wins, predicted to be about 500. The Jags had finished on 9 wins in 2 straight seasons, and the question mark they were talking about at the time was, will an inconsistent defense plague Jacksonville to a losing campaign? And yeah, I mean, that's pretty much what happened. They bottomed out at 4-13. In 2024, their EPA per play was 20th in the passing game and 10th in the rushing game on offense, so a little bit below average throwing the ball. But remember that Trevor Lawrence missed the last 7 games with injury. Above average in the running game. The offensive line, they traded away Cam Robinson in the middle of the season. They moved forward with Walker Little and Anton Harrison. Really, they were a pretty average offensive line, a little bit below average as far as run blocking, but the backs picked up for that. So a pretty good run game. Trevor was 72nd percentile per PFF and about middle of the pack in terms of adjusted net yards per attempt. Now, those things do take into account the backups that played. Some backups qualify for those stats. So probably below average in terms of starters, but not terrible. Needs to move forward. Let's look at more the personnel side of things today. With the defense, they were 32nd in pass defense and 25th in run defense. So they did not blitz very much, and they had a high percentage of middle field open. So they're playing their safeties deep. They're not blitzing. They're just kind of trying to play people straight up. But they were not able to stop the pass effectively that way. Surprisingly, they were better actually stopping the pass when they played man. But they played a lot of cover too, trying to make things easier on their corners. Changes as a result of 2024. The head coach and the GM were fired. Liam Cohen has been hired as the head coach, and the GM is pending. So if you've been keeping up with the offseason for them so far, they tried to hire a coach with Baalke still as GM. They didn't fire him initially, but when they were spurned by Ben Johnson and Liam Cohen, they did go ahead and fire Baalke, and then promptly Liam Cohen came back for a second interview and did take the job. So interesting deal. It is kind of but it's kind of clown shoes from ownership. Obviously, they realized that they had made a mistake in trying to hold on to Trent Baalke. I have tried to figure out why they did that or what their thinking has been through this process. I've heard people say that it's hard for owners to hire a coach without a general manager in place, that sometimes they don't know enough people. I think Shad Khan has been leaning on Trent Baalke for decision making. He's probably been in his ear during the game a lot of times over the last few years. So I know he was reticent to do that, but anyway, now Liam Cohen's the head coach. They're moving forward. They're hiring a new GM. They've got 3 guys they're looking at. They've got an interim guy. They've got a guy from outside the organization from Chicago. They're looking at John Robinson, the former Tennessee guy, kind of infamous for trading A.J. Brown. So we'll see how that goes. None of those names really inspire a ton of confidence, but let's focus on what they need to do going forward. So they have hired a DC, Anthony Campanelli, from Green Bay. And not an offensive coordinator yet. It's not clear to me if they're going to hire one or Liam Cohen. I'm sure he's going to call plays, but hopefully he'll hire someone to help him build the game plan at least. They have a few potential cap casualties. So Christian Kirk and Evan Ingram both missed about half the season with injury. Kirk is 28. He's due 10.4. Well, you can save 10.4 million by releasing him. Evan Ingram is 30, and you can save 6 million by releasing him. So I think both of these are debatable. I think probably it would be hard to find a better player than Christian Kirk for this amount of money. They could roll that money into trying to find a better receiver or draft a player more towards the top of the draft. For me, Evan Ingram is not my favorite kind of tight end. I see him more of a slot guy, someone to split out wide, and a good pass catcher. But I don't know whether he'll fit into kind of the zone run West Coast world of what Liam Cohen wants to do. And then Josh Reynolds was someone they picked up on waivers. He's got $4.3 million of non-guaranteed money, so no question he won't be back at that salary. This pass-catching group could look very different. In my mind, they have one key free agent, and that's Brandon Sheriff. He played for $16.5 million last year. He's 33. He gave you average production. If he wants to come back on a smaller deal, I think that'd be fine. It's a new coaching staff. It's an opportunity to get younger. I would expect they probably go elsewhere, but we'll see. Let's take a look at the roster and cap space. $27 million in effective cap space right now. Top immediate needs. First of all, safety. Their safety play was atrocious last year. Darnell Savage Jr. was not great in Green Bay and has now come here and, really struggled. Antonio Johnson Jr. also, same thing. Both those guys I see as probably more in the box guys. Savage has played better in the slot at times. I hope they try to move him there. Andrew Wingard is the third notable safety on the roster right now. He started the year coming off an injury and then played a little bit down the stretch. Wasn't just given his starting job back, but played well when he got a chance. I know he wasn't happy about not playing more. So hopefully they can mend fences with him. They could save like $3.5 million by cutting or trading him. But I would hope that they would try to give him a blank slate, and the best outcome for them would be that he would be one of their starters at safety going into the year. But no question it's somewhere that they could add. Defensive tackle, they've got Eric Armstead. He's a good player. But Devon Hamilton has played well at nose tackle. He didn't last year. They've got a bunch of unproven guys beyond that. So the last regime drafted a lot of D tackles who were physical specimens, but I felt like they overdrafted some of them based on their college production. So they've got some guys to develop, but I really think they could use someone to step into the rotation and play right away, give them a good level of play right away while they can develop some of the younger guys. On the interior offensive line, they do need to replace Brandon Sheriff. The line was a little bit below average, especially against the run, but really not bad overall. Pretty close. I think if you add a piece there, maybe add some young pieces in the draft, I think you're okay there. Corner, they've got some guys. Tyson Campbell is making a lot of money. He needs to play better. Ronald Darby is 31. He only has 1 year left. Monteric Brown is in a contract year. Jerrion Jones was a third-round pick who played well as a rookie, so hopefully he can step into a starting role. At receiver and tight end, if they move on from Kirk or Ingram, I think they could use help. You've got Brian Thomas Jr., who you drafted in the first round, looks like a blue-chip player. You've got Gabe Davis, who you paid a lot of money to last offseason. You got to keep him one more year, but he didn't look like someone that you want to give a ton of snaps to. You'll probably have to try to find a role for him. And then you've got Parker Washington in the slot, who didn't grade outstanding, but he's a young player. I kind of like the look of him, so we'll see how they go there. And Cole Strange would be your starting tight end if you move on from Evan Ingram. And I think Strange is ready to start. It's just a matter of what you're looking for. If you think that Ingram is worth $6 million at his age with the coming off injury and all that. Let's look at free agent options. So at guard, my choice would be Tevin Jenkins from the Bears, former second-round pick. Took some time, but he's finally put it together and had a good year last year. This Bears offensive line was much maligned. We'll get into that with their episode, but really didn't play bad. And I think an athletic kid that would play well in kind of the zone blocking scheme that I think they're going to want to run. At safety, I would not make a big investment here. I would, maybe Tony Adams is a guy. I know he got benched for the Jets, but he played well in coverage, and there are like 20 draftable safeties. So, and some of them, I think that they need guys that are better in zone coverage, free safety types. But I think that there's at least going to be a handful of those guys in the draft that you could look at. And then a defensive tackle, if they want someone there, I thought since they have a nose tackle under contract for big money, I thought they might want to go with more of a pass rusher, maybe a Milton Williams or Tashawn Wharton, guys that you could get under $10 million and could help your pass defense by rushing the passer. All right, going into the draft, we've got extra third and fourth round picks. I'll say something nice about Trent Baalke. He traded down last year before he took Brian Thomas. So picking up these 2 extra picks for the new GM. They're 2026 free agents. I like to look forward to these to see kind of what needs we want to think about. ETN is going to be a free agent. I think they should talk to him about an extension if they have some extra cap space. I think that'd be a good discussion to have. But I like what you have at running back. Kirk and Ingram, if you move on from those guys, you could think about replacing them. And then on the interior offensive line, Ezra Cleveland and Mitch Morse will be free agents. So Cleveland's 27. I think you could talk extension with him, potentially kind of on the borderline as far as his level of play for that. Mitch Morse is 33. I think you're probably looking to go elsewhere from there. And they've got a couple of safeties and a couple of corners as well that will be free agents. So number 2 quarterback. There you go. 3-round mock draft at the top of the draft. I think I would look at Mason Graham. So I'm thinking that the quarterbacks will be gone. Probably Travis Hunter, probably Abdul Carter. That seems pretty likely right now. So I think these are the top 3 guys to think about. Graham, Johnson, McMillan. People are all over the place on these guys. I think that Mason Graham would give them the most. I think he would probably be able to play the most snaps. And the old regime would not have taken him because he kind of has short arms, but he is a very good pass rusher, very disruptive player on the interior. It depends on what kind of scheme they want to go with, but most teams play a 4-2-5 nickel defense on most of their snaps, so Mason Graham would be an outstanding 3 technique in that. McMillan, would require you to maybe bench Gabe Davis, maybe not play Parker Washington as much in the slot, but then again, it would also let you probably move on from Christian Kirk and save some money, so I would go Mason Graham. Trey Harris in the 2nd round would give you some more fuel on the outside at receiver, though. Guy I really like. I don't think he's going to run out of this world, but he's 6'2", and he's a vertical threat. He's a not super fast vertical threat. So he stacks guys. It doesn't look like he's running fast, but he will run right by you, and he only needs a step or 2 to be able to bring in the deep pass, and does a great job of tracking it over the shoulder. Route tree was limited at Ole Miss. Hitches, goes, posts. That's pretty much it. Occasional, wrap in 10-yard in route or whatever, but have to see if he can develop. The counter argument to this is maybe they want to look for someone who can threaten the defense at the 1st and 2nd levels. If you look into Trevor's numbers last year, his average depth of target was up a lot, and that matched what they were trying to do, was be a more vertical offense, but his completion percentage was down, so I think that's an area for growth. You can debate whether Trey Harris will help you in that regard, but no doubt I think he'd be a good receiver in this group and someone I'm kind of over the moon for, to be honest with you. So Kenneth Grant, would be a nose tackle type. If they don't go D-tackle in the 1st round, good chance he's there at the top of the 2nd. And then Jonah Savanaia was there in the simulator, another offensive line you could go with. In the 3rd round, with your first 3rd rounder, I went with safety Andrew Makuba from Texas. He is that free safety type, that zone DB who could play deep third. The Jags were not good at cover 3 last year and didn't play a lot, but Green Bay did. And if you're wanting to play more cover 3, he would be the kind of guy that could play that deep safety role. Marcus Mbo was on the board. It was hard not to take him. I think that would be enticing. And then start looking at running back here. The Ohio State guys, Judkins and Henderson, were both here. But yeah, I do like the 2 that they have for right now at running back. In the 3rd round, I decided to go with Gunnar Helm from Texas at tight end. Again, for me personally, I don't like Ingram that much, so I would be inclined to move on from him. And if I did, Gunnar Helm is the kind of guy that would be a good target for you in the 1st and 2nd levels, and could give Trevor some more easy throws, increase that completion percentage and matriculate the ball down the field there. Other considerations, I thought about the defensive end Walker or the running back DJ Giddens from Kansas State. He's a favorite of mine. If he's here at 88, I think that would be an interesting pick as well. So, man, yes, Trevor needs to play better, but he also needs that 3-dimensional passing scheme that can threaten all 3 levels of the defense. The defense is way worse right now, but it does have some star power pass rushers on the edge, and it has a good chance to be a good unit. The division's wide open, so, as far as I'm concerned, go get it. This here press conference that Liam Cohen had, doesn't matter if you win. So a bit cringe, but look, if Jacksonville nails free agency and gets impact players in the draft, they're right back in the mix in the AFC South. But if they miss again, we're looking at another wasted year of Lawrence. ETN's probably moving on. So what do you think? What moves do the Jags need to make this offseason to get back on track? Drop your takes in the comments below. And if you enjoyed today's episode, please hit that subscribe button and join me tomorrow as we break down our next team. That'll be the Las Vegas Raiders. Until next time, I'm Ben Jackson, and thanks for tuning in to 32 Teams in 32 Days, and I'll see you in the next one.